Welcome to the Greenfield Human Rights Commission meeting. Today is January 12th, 2026. We are meeting from 6 to 7:30 p.m. and we are meeting at the City Hall via Zoom. This meeting is being recorded by the Greenfield Human Rights Commission and the City of Greenfield. If anyone's person is present and is doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. Seeing none, I call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Roll call by co-chair.
By co-chair filled with, excuse me, wonderful snacks.
Wonderful sex.
Snap.
Patty. I won't even.
We'll talk about that another
I
time.
won't write that down.
That's a whole different meeting.
A whole different.
Okay, Hockey,
Here,
Linda,
here.
Kathleen,
Here.
Nate,
I'm here.
Paula's.
Man. Okay. That's a good one. All right, we're gonna approve the
Right.
minutes from
Yes, I got it.
December 1st. Can I have a motion? Does anybody have a discussion about the minutes before we vote? I thought everything looked good. Going once. It's all right. Can I have a motion to approve December 1st meetings? Motion by Patty, second. Second by Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The abstention, discussions, then that passes. Perfect. Public comment. I opened public comment at 7:02 p.m.
No.
6:02 p.m. 7:02, 6:02 p.m.
Quickly time goes by. We're in a time warp
Anybody need a
here.
public comment? And I'm closing it at 6:02 p.m. Perfect. And updates from the mayor's office. Mayor, you are here today. Do you have any updates from us for us?
I did not look at the agenda, and quite truthfully, no, I do not have any updates that I can think of.
Okay,
If I think of them later, I hope you'll let me say something, but I don't have any right this second. Thank you.
thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Do you have any updates from us co-chairs?
No, the only thing, it's really not an update. It's about the bystander training, things that two of them are running at the library, that both Nate has had extensive training on, and I know you've had some
Okay.
training at GCC. And I just happened to be meeting with Daniel, and he would love to continue working with us. I know, Pocky, you said that would be
Yes,
something
that
we
would
could
be something.
co-sponsor,
Yes,
but at other points,
yes.
when we're talking about school stuff, Nate can tell you how it relates to the schools and the stuff they've been doing literally this week and last week. But let's just go on. That's the only
Yeah.
thing that,
Maybe that can be, on the agenda for next month and talking about, what are the effective rate of TAB? Maybe we can put out a survey and see what people think about TAB and seeing what the public thinks about TAB. I think that's important because we all want to be active bystanders of but how can we be active bystanders? What are the requirements to be an active bystander, the trainings? So maybe we can have that on the next agenda. I'll write my note or myself a note.
I think that it also that reminded me as I was reading the flyer and it seemed that you all had taken part in it. I thought, this is the kind of thing I would like the Human Rights Commission to co-sponsor. To let people know that this is part of our agenda too.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think Daniel was speaking to that as well.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have him come in and speak.
Yes, and he actually had suggested that if we desired, he would come here. And I do want to remind people that we've spoken a little bit about it at other meetings, is when we speak about active bystander training, this starts in third and fourth grade, not the particular training that you have, but there are other trainings so that you don't need to have kids who don't know how to do this
Right.
all through middle school
Right.
and all through high school. Because there's training and,
It's age appropriate.
Northampton schools have been doing it for over a decade with their third and fourth graders.
Huh.
And it's I can tell you it's very effective because my daughter, when she was, in fourth grade and this big, was coming home and telling us, here's how you do it. You don't run to the teacher right away, but we've been trained that you do this and find a friend who said they would also do it with you when you go as a group. And, she went through the whole thing and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So that's the kinds of things like you're doing with the eighth graders
Right.
needs to be built into our school system.
I feel like they used to do it because I feel like my kids did it. My son, who will be 36, was a mediator, and they had mediation training and stuff. And you got to be a mediator in fourth grade, but it started in third. And I feel like they all back in the 90s were doing that here. I know they didn't do it anymore because now I have grandchildren and they did not have it in third and fourth grade, but whatever it was called when my kids were in school in the 90s, they definitely did it. And I'm going to try to go to the one in March. Unfortunately, the one in February is the day I have the little tiny hurricane. So
You can't take it.
he's a little too young.
Away in February and March.
But I can go
Oh,
March.
but you,
Well, and I've done,
Have it.
yeah, and it was a whole day. It was a whole day at GCC.
Yes, Mayor.
Wait, again, and where might you be going this time?
Oh, I'll tell you later.
I
Yes,
can't wait.
Georgia.
the mayor had her hand up.
Did you want me to ask? I'm a school committee member as
Mhm.
well. I wear many hats. Would you like me to ask? It's school committee if this is something that's happening?
The TAB training is happening because I'm a student part of it.
Oh, okay, fine. Sorry.
So they train students, this is now a thing where they're gonna train students every year, from grades 9 through 12.
Mhm.
And then the students go into the eighth grade advisories and, do like an hour lesson about active bystandership on specific scenarios and stuff like that. So it is happening. I think they're gonna continue on doing it.
Okay,
So-
great.
right, and again, I've spoken to Stacy Sexton about the whole issue, not just bicycle training, the whole racism and conflict resolution, the whole thing.
There's a new
Right, they are the new chair.
Sure.
And so this is on their agenda to a
Great.
degree. But they're in the midst of, as the mayor well knows, of picking a superintendent. So it's not numero uno at this moment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, perfect. We're gonna go into new business and I'm gonna talk about the unhoused committee meeting that I was in December. We talked about the roadmap to dignity and I want to give out a shout out to Counselor Sarah Brown. This was just a wonderful presentation. Everybody knew what they were talking about. It gave me so much information that I haven't been able to get, but I have the whole slideshow here if anybody wants it after. But I'm gonna read a little bit of notes from it, if you don't mind. The Human Rights Commission was there because I was representing the commission that night. Just like I said, it was just an excellent presentation. So talking about the unsheltered in Franklin County / Greenfield. So we look in 2025, there's 24 unsheltered in Greenfield and 28 in Franklin County. So that's high, but in 2020, we had 41 in Franklin County and 30 in Greenfield.
Wow.
So I feel like it's decreasing really, really good, but it's still a little high. And so I think that's something that we might be able to look into and figure out what we can do on our end to support the unhoused committee, and be there for them. They talk about the emergency shelters in Greenfield. We have CSO, ServiceNet, the new CSO that's coming in 2026, and we have the warming center that we all know about. Emergency shelters, there was an answer talking about it. Are you aware of local shelters? 23% said yes and 2 said no. So people are aware that there's local shelters in our community. If there were available shelters bed, would you stay there? 17% said no and 6% said yes. So that's also something to look at into its area. What would you make more likely in available shelters? They talked about safety, which is 63%, different guidelines, which is 53%, better location, 18, LGBTQ plus opinion, 12%, same sex, 6, trans, 6, and pet allowed, 6. Pet allowed is a very big thing because a lot of all the shelters here do not allow pets. So certain people who are homeless who have pets cannot go into shelters, which is devastating. And I think that's something we need to look into a little bit more. They also had a community service. I don't know if anybody did it here, but they had a really good community service and they got most of their data from there. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it's very, very important. One more that I wanted to go through. Uh,
Yeah, there's an animal shelter right in town.
No.
I didn't think so anymore, right? Like, I feel like there could be a foster program for the
I
pets.
think that you could pet overnight.
Right, like obviously it's hard to bring a pet into a shelter because of the congregate living and it's just difficult.
And it's also people who are living in apartments. There's also, many apartments don't take pets.
Well, I know,
You
right?
know, so
They never-
that's another, that ends up being another
Okay.
And it used to be years ago, I mean, obviously I'm old. You didn't even consider an apartment taking
So
a
the-
pet, but now more and more do.
The community service results, the community survey results of how many people took it, 18 people completed the survey and 66 unfinished just online. It was from ages 22 to 77. Nine of them staying in tents or cars, 6 of them staying in shelters or with family and friends, and 3 of them have no shelter at all. The time of unhoused is about 8 to 1 year, 1 to 3 years, 5 to 3 years. And they kind of have the graph, and the 8 to 1 year is very popular. The ratio for that one is very big. And then we have, how well do you think Greenfield serves its unhoused committee? 1 was 3, which is terrible. 2 was 2. There's no scale from there. 3, which was 4. 4, okay, was 5. 5 was 0. 6 was 1, and 7 was excellent, was 0. So that's a problem. If our community members are saying that they're not being served, they're not getting served correctly, that's a problem. We should be at least 5, 6, or 7.
So these are the unhoused community
Yes.
taking the survey?
And unhoused and people in the public,
Oh, a combo.
combo.
Right.
both.
And the other thing that I think we need to do is compare this to other places. So that it sounds bad that nobody is here at 6 or 7. Are other places 6 or 7?
In Franklin.
Any 6 or 7?
Right.
Right.
And so
Good point.
if everybody else is at 5, 6, and 7, and we're at 3 to 4,
something.
Right,
then we're not doing a great job.
right.
The question is, are there enough resources for anybody
And I,
to do 5, 6, and 7?
And I think we may get to that 6, 5, 6, and 7 when the new one is built because it's much bigger. There's more room for beds and et cetera. Because I've seen it, I drive by it every day, and I think it's huge, and I think it's a really big part of our community right now. And I think I'm very excited to see how it really goes.
Where is it?
And it's on
Wells Street.
Wells
Done well,
Well,
yeah, across.
I feel like we have that many beds. I feel like we have 30 beds.
We do, but
Right, so I guess I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect. I mean, and this is just what I feel. It's advertised, it's on the kiosk, it's on all social media. Sometimes I see it on the Jumbotron. so what is the major complaint that they're,
Well, if you're,
Scoring so low.
if you're unhoused or not, you don't have a phone to see all this stuff online.
no, I
you have-
understand
You
that.
have the resources that you hear from like.
But
your-
some unhoused people do have a phone.
Some, but not all.
Right.
And so, and we try to emphasize that they might
I
hear
get
that
it.
from, they might hear it from their people that they live with or that they're around, that there's resources there. But it's getting them to there. And how can we get them to there? So they're like, yes, I would love to stay here. I would love to be here and get resources that we need. We're not at that point yet. And so that's why this survey was really sharing is, okay, we're almost getting there, but we're not there
Right.
yet.
I also feel like the community police are very active
Yes, the community
with trying to get people to a warming center. I've seen that.
Yeah, and like the city of Greenfield posts it on their Facebook and Instagram, and I see it all the time on my phone.
Sometimes, like I said, it's on that jumbotron.
Right, so there's things that we can do as a commission to support the unhoused committee, if that's just being there and giving us our opinion, or even maybe even having a collaboration meeting like the community relations did, and talking about this topic in full capacity with the community members and with us. Something to also think about, but I don't want to go in too much into depth with this.
Right.
I have the whole slideshow and form here that you guys have. It has a little paperclip.
If you could send it electronically.
I can send that
would be good.
electronically tonight, but if you'd rather have a paper form, it's all yours. Any questions or comments? Is Dr. Campbell in the waiting room?
I don't see that she said that she was.
Pia, by the way, did not realize the meeting was tonight.
No, I don't see anybody in the meeting room.
I
I
just want
don't
to make
see
sure.
them.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Sometimes it says it upstairs.
Right.
Um,
Did you have a comment?
I wondered what the ratio was of on that survey of unhoused to
To people?
people, because I think those are like a night and
Right.
day person.
And I think that's what I was wondering when I was listening.
Well,
to-
same. That's what I
Yeah.
should have phrased it
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking to the, oh, yeah, she's in the waiting room.
Oh, there she is.
If you're talking
She just
about,
entered.
yeah, if you're talking about the public, the
Right.
public won't know any if they have never even been to those places.
Right. Why would they have any
Now, if you're
knowledge?
talking to
Right.
unhoused, that's different, that's a whole different discussion. So yeah, I would like to know that ratio, and I think that, like I said, we can have Sarah, Counselor Brown come and talk about it, or we can, like I said, have a collaboration with the committee, all of us together, and really get that in-depth conversation to them.
Yeah.
Yes, Pat?
I think that's a good question, who
Yeah.
are the answers? It's not a very good survey.
Mhm. Excuse me.
I mean, just the question of what makes it excellent and what makes it poor.
Right.
For I think 10 years, I was one of the overnight people at the emergency shelter in Northampton.
Mhm.
And not overnight, I was a volunteer, so once a month, twice a month. And, people would not complain about it there, because it was a warm bed and it was well supervised
Right,
and people were safe.
right.
It's probably not unlike the warming center.
And we also think about the warming center, like when we dropped off the food after HR, we had a fire person was there. Was it a fire person? I think
Yeah,
fire
there
or
was a-
policeman. Like safety is, I feel okay because we have law enforcement staying those nights there. But like I said, and we like that question of the mayor asks, yes, it's important to know what the ratio is between community members and the unhoused, because the unhoused have the most opinion in this discussion because it's about them. The
Right.
public just,
Right.
the public is the public. That's all I'm gonna
Right.
say.
And you may have people who don't go because there's police.
Right, exactly.
So it can
It
be all,
could swing
it can be,
either way,
yeah,
right?
it can go all over the
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
So it's,
It's like schools. It is very complicated.
It's very complicated. Right.
But it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
It needs to be
Like
addressed.
schools.
So I
It's very
think,
complicated.
I'll send out an email to Counselor Brown and see if maybe we could do a collaboration meeting with all of us.
Oh.
And
Going on.
maybe March or April,
Yeah,
we can see.
I didn't know that there had been a meeting in December, and I spoke with her to ask her if there was something coming up. And she said, no, there isn't a meeting coming up, but that a lot of the things that people wanted are in place. So there are meetings going on to address the issues that raises.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be part of it too, from a larger scale.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. All right, item 2, hello, Dr. Campbell, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So item 2 is we're going to reflect on the Human Rights Commission award ceremony that happened last month. First, I want to say thank you to all of you. That was a lot of work, but we did, excuse my language, but we kicked ass. Okay, we did really good. And I had somebody at the library today come up to me and they're like, hey, that ceremony was great. Forgot to tell you guys when you were there, but that ceremony was amazing. And they said that they want to come to more and they want to be more involved. And so we did a really good job. I'm very proud of this group. To Larry and his amazing work, it was just impeccable.
There was a really good vibe
It was
in the room.
It was.
Yeah, there was.
And the people who spoke specifically about Larry
Yeah.
were absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, it was comprehensive, it was heartfelt. You know, you weren't sitting there wondering when somebody was gonna shut up because they were just running on. I mean, it was focused. I was really impressed with the speakers,
Yes, I was. too.
and how that whole thing went.
And that goes back, and I want to, agree 100% with what Nate said. It's not us,
Yeah.
that we spent a month planning out how do you make that meeting work. If you remember, going through, we have 3 pages.
Yeah.
On, in August, you do this, in September, you do that. That didn't exist before. And we reflected on last year's ceremony and said, where were some of the weaknesses and how could we fix them? And we did that. When you said each of the speakers were terrific, we went and asked people who, like Sarah Brown,
Who would not?
I asked that, and she said, no, you don't want me speaking. You want these people speaking
No, and they did a great
because
job.
they've had a decade of working with them. I've worked with them for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And that was because of the work that we did on that. And the work where you followed up, getting other people to come, where, all of that,
And I think the people who were there, even if they, had never been there before, felt comfortable about being there. And some of the, had said to me, oh, I want to do this again. I was like, okay, that felt good.
And you're correct, it took effort. We contacted a bunch of agencies and said to the agencies, this is happening.
Yeah.
Can you let your people know? And they showed up.
And they showed up.
That's why the audience seemed so fabulous. It was the appreciative audience.
And even inviting the people who had been nominated,
Yeah,
No, that was great.
that's what I'm saying.
so it was
Went
just,
out and called them and
called them and did, yeah. So that, and that wasn't difficult.
No.
It was just doing it, sending somebody an email or getting on the phone, that personal,
yeah.
that personal piece really makes a difference.
And Kathleen, and with
the
your
food,
help a little
yeah.
bit, had the right amount of food. We had the right
Yeah.
place to bring it when there was leftover food.
Yeah.
No, I think
Interestingly
everybody
enough-
did a great task and we really spread it out so that nobody felt
Yeah.
like they were doing it. I think
Interestingly
wonderful.
enough, when we brought the food to the warming shelter, they'd asked, it had to be the food safe,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
It actually said, where did this come from?
Right.
And we said, well, it was at this event. Well, no, who prepared, oh, well, we did this at Stone Soup and it was all,
Right.
you know, food safe. And they went, oh, well, then we can accept it. You know, if I brought my stuff, it
Right.
wouldn't have gotten past the
Exactly.
door. You know,
No,
so,
and even
interesting.
all the way back in November, when, before we even announced it, the idea that we went and asked Larry, is this okay?
Right.
Because we had heard this is not his thing.
Right.
Awards and speaking are not his thing. And he said yes. And that made such a difference.
And I think he also saw that it was in some ways also bigger than him. And I think that's why he said yes. That his discomfort was
Yeah.
modified because of the bigger picture.
I think also too, we showed the city that with a commission of 7 to 5 people, we are mighty and strong. That we can do work regardless of the size and regardless of what comes at us. And we, you know, I was shocked about how many people were there because of what happened years prior. And so for that, I mean, like I said, kudos to everybody.
Well,
I-
Paul did a great job
Paul
with
did a
the
great job.
flyers, and then we got it on the
Flyers,
radio, and everybody
library,
talked it
you know,
up, the
the library.
library.
Library was
Library
great.
is
The
great.
people, obviously the people are always great at the library, but they were excellent at this time.
And I think the big piece of this was that it wasn't about any one of us.
Right.
Oh, no.
Okay, well, it wasn't about, and that collective
Yes.
made
Yes.
Yeah.
a huge difference.
And you
Yes.
did a great job emceeing as
Yes.
well.
Yes, it was
So,
lovely.
it
And
worked.
I also feel like the strength of it showed organization, as Nate said, whereas, and it's funny because I've seen several people since then, and some of them I recognized right away, and some I did not, who wanted to compliment us on doing a great job. And it's funny, I just saw Zoe for the first time after the new year with her little one when I was with the baby, and we were in the library. And they said what a great, you know, how it was a great event, and they really loved that we asked them to speak and how they just saw where, I mean, it's just like a really full circle moment for the commission and the town. And I feel like it smiled brightly
Right.
for a change.
And to include more than that on it, the mayor went through and had me and had the publicity person ask us. So mayors where here and what, you know, who's going to be speaking after me? Who's going to be speaking before me? So
And
it's
we had
bigger
the-
than.
And we
us.
had so we had the
Yeah.
answers, but the other piece is we had the answers.
Right.
Because we had planned this.
Well, we really.
We had
did.
planned
Yeah,
this
this
out.
whole
And we had a
5-page
program.
document.
Oh my
The
God.
program, it's great.
The program is great. I think next year, you know, for like people after if they want to like email us about how it was and everything, maybe we can have like little business cards with our email on it.
Or a
and
survey.
a survey,
channel.
you know, after, and that can be something for next year, but I think we did a great job. Patty, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I want to know what you all wore.
Wow, that was a dilemma for me.
I wore a tan jacket with white and a nice blue and white tie.
Because I mean, I knew we were dressing up.
Well, I
mean,
Great.
Great.
He looks great.
And I wasn't in any photo, which was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much. But I said to Nate, I said, you know, I don't dress up well. But
And I had a
but I told him I wouldn't
jacket.
embarrass him.
Good,
I had a black dress outfit with a necklace, of course.
very good. Impressed. I mean, I guess that's why I couldn't be there.
And we were working, you know, I mean, it was making sure that there was coffee and there was things and
Yeah.
We were
told
busy.
people where, you know, where things were and, you know,
No,
it just
and we got there
in
you
enough
know,
time.
2 hours ahead of time.
We had plenty of time to
You know,
relax.
because we had to set
beforehand.
up the sound
Yeah.
system, we had to make sure that was working.
Yeah.
All the chairs, I mean. it-
And the young lady who, you know, when we unveiled the, you know, the logo,
That was good.
you know, that went well,
Oh, that was
you
cute.
know, and so, I mean, the poor kid looked like the deer in headlights, but that's, but her parents were there and they were
It's
supportive. And it's so the whole piece
Yes, I
of
mean,
it.
it was
just-
really, it was what community is supposed to be.
And I think she was
They did
pretty
it.
excited by the gift card.
Oh,
Her
yeah.
face lit up when she got the gift card. I can remember that.
And I
was
think,
cute.
and I think that next year we could do something, not a logo, because that's our logo, but we could do something again with.
To involve the students.
Involve the
Yeah.
students and to get the.
Maybe
students-
write a poem or an
Write a
essay or
poem,
something,
Maybe a speech, whatever.
something, a
Put it in
song.
there, yeah.
You know, I wanted a song, but it was exciting.
All right.
So
Okay, we don't need to congratulate ourselves anymore.
No, but
Is
it's
there-
figuring out the timing again, so that we make
Right.
sure
Yeah.
that we're not,
Right,
I think it-
we're not rushing
Scrambling.
Right.
and scrambling this time, and that it gets,
That could be an
that it
honest.
really
again,
gets
we
out
can
there.
modify our little scheme that's all written out
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
By the way,
And-
that brings me back to this issue, it's not only relative to this, but it's going to be relative to what you're going to be speaking about later. And I'm going to ask the mayor this, who may or may not know, oh my God,
Oh,
may or may not know the answer. There are documents that have been in the HRC that we've recently found that were big documents from,
previous.
4 or 5 years ago. That we were going to create ourselves, but were actually created then. And we've created, for instance, new ways of not only how to make the HRC award ceremony work, but we've changed the HRC method of applying and what we're going to do, et cetera. Is there a place that these documents can be kept a part of the city website that's just HRC internal documents? Because if we hadn't had a chat with Daniel,
We wouldn't have even.
we
known
wouldn't
that
have
this
known about this 15-page
Wow.
Manual.
thing that,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I do want to go back to one point on the
awards.
award.
Right, but this just reminded me that we have this whole thing, but if none of us are here 4 years from now, who the hell is going to know about it?
Right.
Good question.
There needs to be a
Also that-
repository for
also
these things.
That, which is true, but let's also remember, we had a different administration at the time that Daniel was here.
Right.
So that administration, I don't know what they did with it. I don't know if it obviously has to stay, but
No, but he didn't have a place to put it.
He didn't have a place.
Okay, you asked.
Because I actually asked him.
Would you like me to answer the question?
Yes,
Okay. So, yes, is there a place that this can be kept? It is, there is a place that things can be kept. We have boards and commissions are listed online. And next to each board and commission, I was on disability access for a while. You can vote as a group to have things added to the website on that, not if this is something that's accepted by all of you.
Mhm.
For instance, on on the disability access, we put the transition plan, which we had all worked on. We looked at all of the sidewalks and the buildings, et cetera, in conjunction with an outside group, and then we attached it.
This is the packet, so.
We attached it to the website. So if you have things that you wish to do, that would have to be talked about and accepted as a whole, that this is something that the group thinks should go on. And, that would come back to the mayor's office as well, but I don't see any reason why I couldn't. What are you talking about?
there's
Well,
two different types of documents. One are public documents, and that can go out on the website as they
Right,
are
and
now.
that probably should
Like,
be our
like the
minutes.
rules for the Human Rights Commission and
Well, that-
all of
the
that.
rules
But
for the HRC is in the chapter 136. So when you go on our website, it has chapter 136.
no,
And that has all of our rules, like our rules as commissioners. and all that
right.
stuff.
But
But the
minutes should
rules
be
for
posted.
applying to the
Oh,
human
okay.
right, that is on there because that's useful to the public. The things we're speaking about are useful to people on the commission.
Yeah.
The
This,
in,
this is an onboarding,
On-
this is kind of an onboarding document that the previous commission had worked on. Like a training document for new commissioners.
and likewise, the thing that we created two different things, how to
Run a particular event.
well, a year-long step by step.
Calendar.
What does it take to run a human rights award? So the public has no use for that, but the new people coming on do. So this would be a thing that only the commissioners could see. And then there's the other part that you put up on the actual website itself that you want the public to see.
Well, I'm just going to say that anything is possible to be done, but also if this is something that's public. So things are done in public. If there are like rules of procedure, I mean, I was on city council and planning board for a while. Those are findable online. I'm just saying, associated with it. In a public forum, everything that's public really is public. So yes, you can put it aside, make a booklet, but somehow it's going to be attached. Somehow it will be attached electronically, because that's really how it never disappears.
Right.
Don't
That's
worry
what
about-
we're asking for,
Let
yeah.
me just finish, okay?
Mhm.
You know, you're worrying about things disappearing and that it wouldn't be whatever. If it was attached through the website, it would not. And it certainly can be done in a different way. We had rules of procedure for planning board, so they are attached, they are findable. And so whatever it is that you want is possible.
And if there's a format that is used by other commissions, then maybe it needs to be within that format, and that's something we wouldn't know ahead of time. So that's just something for us to discuss going forward.
And that can be that will be on February's agenda.
So if I can go back just for a moment to
Yes,
the
Of course.
to the award ceremony, when we were discussing who qualified as far as a nominee, it was in general somebody who was living in Greenfield. If they didn't live in Greenfield, they wouldn't qualify. And do we want to look at if there may be somebody who lives in another town but works for an organization in Greenfield and has major impact? So we might want to think about how that looks going forward.
Yep.
So one of the nominees that we had this year has moved to Florence. So but if she's still working in Greenfield, could she be nominated again? So that's something we want to, I think we can table it for now, but it is definitely a consideration moving forward. So just a thought around
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I think the question of what, public or private, I mean, I think the idea is you don't have to, the next commission that has none of us on it doesn't have to recreate a wheel,
Right.
because I think you all did a great job. And
And at least somebody has a template for whatever event they're doing and they want,
Yes.
and if they, and of course it'll get edited and it'll
Sure,
change,
yeah.
but at least you're starting with something.
Yeah.
Right, rather than starting, I don't believe we had anything unless there was something we didn't know about.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
Do you want to be
Wow.
cautious on time? It's around 6:40. I want to.
Oh,
yeah, we gotta move along.
We talk about item.
okay, so I sent out, everybody's got it electronically. I also made copies. And so everybody is, well, I should say Erin made copies. Which is the first page.
The one with the list.
Oh, yeah, I got it in an email.
So you have it in an email. And so the next piece of this is simply to determine having it read, and then basically, basically the piece is then just to determine, that we work on each piece as we go along, and that hopefully by the end of 2026, we have, if not sooner, but I mean, we have a document that we can hand to anybody who's going to be a part of the commission. And they have, they kind of have an onboarding manual.
Please don't call me Mr. President.
So that's what,
Appreciate that.
so that's what, so that was the piece. And I found out about it because I was just talking to Daniel at the, we were just having a discussion and said, oh, well, we did this. Oh, wow. It gives us something to start with, even if we end up rewriting the whole thing. Or, I mean, it's now 5 years. They did this in fall of 2021. It's 5 years later. I'm sure that there are things that changes, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like eight, categories or 7 categories. Robert's Rules of Order about motions probably doesn't need to be rewritten, but we probably all need to read it. Understanding the open meeting law. This is, these are things that I don't always understand, so that it's there. But the thing on investigations, the establishment of the commission, the mission and vision, and the letter of welcome probably need to be edited. And we can do it piecemeal during our meetings.
Well, I agree with everything you say, except I would suggest that people take a piece and look at it outside the meeting. So each person can lead a discussion
Right.
on,
Exactly.
I think this needs changing, or I
Right.
think this doesn't need changing.
Yeah.
Et cetera. So, because doing work at a meeting that you haven't thought about ahead of time is not, I think, the best use of our meeting.
Exactly. So, I mean,
Right.
I know, for instance, that, rewriting the letter of welcome probably is not going to be a big deal. The mission statement, we've changed our mission statement. I don't
We've
know.
added a sentence.
We've added
Right.
something,
Added.
so that's an easy update. Now we get, to the establishment of the policy and the vacancies and all of that. We want to look at these things
Yep.
and see what may or may not need to be changed. So said, we don't need to do it now.
Yeah.
But I think it should be a topic for each upcoming meeting until we've finished it. It might just
Well-
take a couple of meetings.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to tell you that this is in the city code, which is voted on by council. So, your policy, your membership terms, most of this, are in the city code. So if changes are going to be done for that, it needs to be brought to A&O. And, we don't, how do I say this? There's no, I don't think there's any other group throughout the city. You look at whatever it is, but things that you're going to sort of codify and make, this is what we're doing. It goes one more step, I would say, than this. So I actually was looking at this just the other day. It's chapter 136 in the code.
The policy, yep.
Yeah, and it has policy, membership terms, and vacancies. So, your A, B, C, D, it looks a little, so I think you'll have to make some decisions, and then the Appointments and Ordinance Committee is looking at reviewing the entire code. This is sort of the year for this, and actually, I think last year was the year, but they're not quite through, so. But That's all.
I know we did reduce the number of
Right.
commissioners from 9 to 7 and
We officially did that one.
we officially did that one.
The,
But this is a good review for each of us, no matter how long, whether we've been here a long time or a short period of time.
and I think we have a grand opportunity if the two people who are applying do become members to test it out. This is the inboarding document. And is it useful or isn't it useful?
And they'll be, those two members will be in council.
On council?
They're gonna be on city council's agenda. in
To
February
be,
Appointed, okay.
Oh,
Which means that they would then start in March.
They would get sworn in. in March.
am I correct that the mayor has to ask for them or to be?
I
Aaron was
felt
already-
like we just got approved by the mayor.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I didn't believe it
Aaron,
was the city
Aaron
council.
told me that it was already approved and it's going to council.
Oh.
That's what I was
Got it.
told.
Oh, the council is just told or they?
The
have to do
council,
something?
she talked about it at
Yeah.
council. Yeah.
So for appointments to the committee, for an appointment to the committee, someone would send in their, something that they would like to be on the committee, and then I put that name forward to the
Okay.
council. And it's highly unusual that you would get 9 members to object to a member who's putting their name out there.
Okay.
It has happened once in the past. Someone was put on the conservation committee who had made his whole front lawn cement on the conservation committee, which didn't seem to jive with. That was the only time in the history of this that an appointment wouldn't go forward.
Mhm.
A reduction, like what you did with reducing the number of people, from one to the other. You spoke with somebody on, the city council, that has to be brought forth by a city councilor. And that change, just like any changes to this, is not a small deal. It's a big deal and it's time consuming and it's a work. If it just, I would say, review carefully because that makes a lot on someone else's end. If there's not something that you truly object to. Did I answer that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
By the way, our names were run past the city council.
And my-
Yes, I
and my
know.
name
So, I
was
mean,
too.
I was,
Yes,
so,
mine must have been too, and I
Originally,
didn't
yeah,
even know it.
well, I was asked whether I would consider it. I then sent in a resume,
Right.
I redid my CV because, and that went to the mayor and then I was told, yes, the mayor says you're kosher. And we, and then it went to the city council in February. And then you and I actually were sworn in at the same time.
Yeah.
And then attended a meeting in March. So that, kind of how that went.
Great. Yes.
And just so Angela would know this as well, those names go forward and it's 35 days from the name that your name, that your name goes down, that you're actually would be an official member of the committee. You would also need to be sworn in. So Patty will be sending, or has sent those names down. They'll be voted on in February, not in January, because of the 5-day rule. There's a lot of rules.
Right.
There's an awful lot of rules in government. I'm sure there's probably a lot of rules in many places where you are, but there are more rules than I ever could have guessed.
Is that the
And-
truth?
And so we try now more to tell people what this is, we're welcoming you, your name will go down, it will be this, and then 35 days from that so that people will know. And then the clerk's office will certainly make exceptions if it doesn't work, but they do swearing ins on Thursdays.
Yes.
Doesn't work for everybody. You can make a special time that would be if you have a work related or something else related time thing, just let the clerk know. I actually think I'm not sure about this, but I'm able to swear people in as well if there's something that is conflicting with the clerk's office, but both the
It should be there.
clerk and the assistant clerk are able to do that.
Then I think the other thing that came down was having to do the conflict of interest training.
Right.
Which is
And
which
online.
is a state requirement, which was
And and
We have to redo
and
it.
us members have to do it now because it's another new year.
Oh, you have to do it every.
Aaron sent you
Really?
a
A link,
email.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't get one.
I didn't either.
I'll have to look.
I'll look, but.
Yeah,
I'll forward it.
which given the current political climate in other places, it's rather an amusing. It's a rather interesting training.
Anyway, if
Yes.
only.
There we go. It's
Hmm.
for 2026.
All right, item 4, we're gonna talk about some themes. So it's 2026 and it's a new theme of the year. Last year it was homelessness. We didn't really do a lot tackling it. We have a commissioner who sits on it and talks about it and gives us updates. That's really all we have. I'm not saying that we can carry it for this year, but I think now that we have this thing, we seem very interested in what it has to say and what it has to do, that maybe we can continue it for 2026. If you want to change it, that's totally fine. But I think that since we're supporting something alongside House Committee, I think that's something that we can all kind of talk about. So that's why it's one of our topics for tonight.
So what I'd like to speak to is, I like the way you say themes, plural. So one theme is continuing to work with the unhoused and homelessness. But I think the other one that I brought up last year was the human right to health care. And that I think as a human rights commission, we could reach out to other human rights commissions around the Commonwealth to say, that's a body, this is a body that deals with homelessness, that deals with bullying, that deals with all those other things. But so it's not a body that historically has been part of the Mass Health Coalition. And I think, we need to have a reform of our healthcare system. It's ridiculous. I don't even need to belabor it. So I think it would be useful if we could be in touch with other human rights commissions to say, we're taking a stand that healthcare is a human right, and we'd like other human rights commissions around the Commonwealth to join us in supporting.
There's, I was just at a meeting yesterday where we got 6 of the local people from local towns to mimic some of the things that we've done, but they're going to do it in a town thing. So it's going to go before their town meetings and things like that. But what you're speaking of, I think, is useful in that it's other cities that mainly have human rights commissions.
Yeah.
And some of them, like Pittsfield and Northampton, their human rights commissions were also the place that brought it to their mayors and their city councils, and they got it passed. But there are others that have not.
Yeah.
So we can find out pretty easily through Mass Cares, which if you remember all the readings you had, many about single-payer healthcare, many of them
Right.
came from Mass
Mass
Cares, which is a statewide organization that for 3 decades now has been trying to get this passed
Right.
as legislation. So if that's something we want to deal with, it's doable. We can find out which human right, and as well as we can, and I think you've said this before, Nate, that we can try to get this as a rallying place, even for those places who have passed it, to get not just us, but other people
Right. So
work to get that to be a coalition of human rights commissions.
So the town passes it, and then it's like, okay, we're done with that.
Sits.
Rather than to say, okay, so we're all, if you pass it, then you have to send people to Boston to lobby for this, or to lobby your legislators. I mean, look at look what happened to our city, when how much the health insurance policies went up. I mean, they're bankrolling, bankrupting high schools and schools, cities, the whole.
Most cities, that's their biggest expense.
Yeah, and I mean, I just saw Frontier High
Mhm.
School has the same thing. It's ridiculous that we just go, oh, ain't it a shame? Rather than just say, so what can we do about it?
Is there a listing of HRCs in Western Massachusetts? I'm
No,
serious.
I do not.
Because if they're, I'd certainly be willing to just do some of that research and find out which cities in Franklin County, Hampshire County, Hampton
To
County.
start with.
Just to start,
Yes, yeah.
just to start with.
Yeah,
And to find out if they have HRCs and who is their chair, and create that spreadsheet. I mean, it may take me a couple months, but create that spreadsheet so that we have something to start with.
If I'm not mistaken, I think in Franklin County, I think we're the only.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
I think
same.
we're-
I
we're the
think
only
we're
city.
at,
but the only
we're
city.
the, but even when we were a town, this has been going on. We've only
Really?
been a
This-
city for
there was
how
a Human
long?
Rights Committee? That's
Yeah,
great.
when we were a
When
town.
we were a town.
Because the woman I worked with at Leiden Woods back in 1997 or 98, Diane Sargent, was the person who put this together.
So,
And it had to be, was it 98 or 99 when the Human Rights Commission?
so
came
I can
forward.
go on to all of the various town, websites and look for human rights commissions or something that is similar, and just put together a document. And I can just do it for Western Mass. It's going to take, it'll take some time.
Yeah.
But,
So your next snow day,
My
you don't know what to do.
well, right, when I have an.
You're not on vacation.
On the plane on the way to Georgia.
That's it.
The last.
Or baking,
Or during his game, right?
right.
But I mean, I put together something that was hospices, when I was dealing with, figuring out who to contact for, various and sundry. Yeah,
That's great.
it just takes some time. So I'm happy to do that. And it gives us a starting point to contact other organizations and find out, one, if they exist, and two, what are they doing?
And I can get a list of the cities and towns in Massachusetts who have either passed a non-binding resolution by the voters.
Yeah.
Or like ourselves, have the mayor and city council have a letter or resolution about it, because Mass Cares has that list.
Uh-huh.
That's different than who has
Right.
Human Rights Commission.
But that certainly makes
That would be
sense.
great.
On
And I was-
single pay health.
And I was thinking the other theme being this bystander training in the schools. I mean, dealing with that piece of curriculum, starting in third
Well-
grade or whatever, but
It needs to be beyond bystander training. That's a great place to start. But if you remember all of our conversations, and whenever I've had conversations with PTO people,
mhm,
with this, I've had conversations with two people, one new and one old, on the school committee. All of them say that this is not, it's bullying in every sense, but it's also racism upon the parts of, and some of it may be cognizant racism, and some of it may be they're not cognizant of it, of teachers and administrators as well. And that's what each of us have said we've gotten complaints from people about. And so I agree with you that
Well,
here's an opportunity to have one place and one thing to
Right,
start
well,
with.
if we also think about this, not only was students trained on tab, faculty was also trained on it. And it was faculty from high school. The faculty knew when you walked in, okay, this is about the conversation is about. This is what the students are coming here to talk about. And I think high school is a great place to start because you're coming into high school and you have no idea what's going to happen in high school. You don't know what you're planning on doing, right? I didn't have any plan on what I was doing in eighth grade. Now I do, right? But that's because we had upperclassmen come up and teach these eighth graders, but not only that, gave them relationships because you're going to be in the school together for the next 3 to 4 years. And so having a freshman come up and be like, hey, I know what it is to be like eighth grader or a senior or a junior. I know what it is to be like an eighth grader. I had to deal with this, I had to deal with that. But coming together as a coalition and and saying, hey, this is bullying. This is how you prevent bullying. And would you train your next eighth graders coming in? And that's something about it. And I want to emphasize, like I said, I want to emphasize that faculty, including administrators, as principals, associate principals, superintendents, and assistant superintendents, have been trained before the students. Because you can't just come into a school and be like, yeah, I'm going to train students on bullying, but not the faculty.
All the faculty?
All faculty have been trained, and I guarantee you that all faculty have been trained. Because TAB is not something that just.
But that's eighth grade and above.
That's eighth grade and above. So the high school faculty have been.
Right, so eighth
And I'm
grade is
sure-
considered part of the high school now?
Yes. And I'm sure that middle school faculty might have been trained, I'm sure elementary school faculty might have been trained. If not, all right,
And we
Maybe-
we figure it out.
maybe
So,
that's something that we can figure out. But
so a theme so another theme for the year, because I think that just choosing one, because these are clearly multi-year, and these are multi-year initiatives.
And
And that, so the educational component dealing with bullying and racism as a theme for the HRC, I think would be appropriate. And that,
But I also want to emphasize this too. We also want to make sure when talking about bullying in schools and et cetera, let's not overstep into the administrators' parts of how their procedures are and how the school committee's procedures are too, because we want to make sure that that there's a guideline. Yes, we are a HRC that we protect everybody's right to live, everybody's right to live or be here, right? But we also want to make sure that we don't go to school committee and be like, hey, so this is what the HRC wants, and that's all we care about. We care about everybody, and we want to make sure that, all right, let's work with school committee, be like, hey, so this is what our theme is, and we want to talk to you about some ways that maybe we can do a co-sponsor on something or a collaboration. That is something that we all need to work on. And that could be meeting with the administrative team and seeing what their thoughts on our tab and what their impact is on tab, or maybe even talking to some students, having a student, town hall style, right? And talking about that too. But I just want to emphasize that we don't want to step over the school committee's
Oh, of course
toes
not.
or the administrative toes,
agree.
because at the end of the day, we don't want backlash on our part.
I think it would be great, and I'm just thinking of this. Oh, I didn't mean
Go
to
ahead, no,
interrupt.
no.
Cam.
Right.
I was at the library today and with one of my older grandchildren. And I met another friend of mine, just happenstance at the library, her grandchildren. And, this, I could go on and on, as we all know. So anyway, what I think, and it just popped into my head, what would be great is if we could do a couple of like little workshops in a place that wasn't the school, like the library, and invite people to come and see what we're about for young people and what we have to offer, and bring this forward. And that might be a really nice way to outreach to the community and do something, on an afternoon, on a Monday or a Tuesday, after Lego Club, that could make it kind and friendly and not look like it's just a school function for young people. It's just a thought.
This is something to think about, but I've always thought of having a town hall
Yeah, I like that.
and having the community and public come and ask us questions, because not only is human rights being violated right now in federal, but it's also being violated in state. And so we currently, right now, we currently don't have a representative in our state house.
Well, we do until
Right.
next week.
Until next week,
Well,
but
it's just-
still,
yeah.
we want to, I think, I love I love town halls. I've watched all town halls in my life. And I think that it's the most effective way to hear from our community members and our city members and seeing what their thoughts are on things and what we can do as a bipartisan group and working with other committees and councils to do something together. Because it's really all about collaboration right now. And it's not about
Yeah.
it is not about separation. And so that could be something that we can think about in the future.
Yeah, I think, along those lines, what we want to do is, we're the outsiders.
Mm.
So really what I want to know is what they feel we need.
Yeah.
in the
Right.
schools, and how can we support
Help.
them in doing that? Because we don't have our Superman woman capes on, or, they're all in the laundry.
And that's why, if you remember, just the outline of building
Yeah.
the collaborative team,
Yeah,
which is why I initiated conversations with PTOs. I have no idea what the general PTOs do. I know two PTO leaders, what they think about it. I have no idea what the whole school committee thinks about it. But if people will just say, and those people I spoke to had no problem saying, we have a bullying problem. We have a racism problem in the school, and each of them had stories. I didn't need to bring up my stories. You didn't need to bring up your stories. They had stories. And I agree with you that the only group I have not spoken to yet, and just not the opportunity, and when I say me, it needs to be us. You and I spoke to the superintendent, was the teachers. And without their buy-in,
Right,
there's
but without
nothing.
But without the teachers, we can't talk to the teachers unless we speak with the administrative team at each school. That's the thing that I'm trying to say. Like we can have this conversation about bullying,
Right.
but we need to see what admin thinks about bullying and
Correct.
how are they holding like files of it? Are they holding things about it, right? And then we go to the teacher and be like, okay, hear what the teachers have to say. But like I also said, we don't want to step on the school committee's toes and the public school system.
Absolutely.
And so we also want to be transparent with both and be transparent with all. I don't know if anybody had any other discussion because you do have to move on, but I think
No, I
these
just
are,
think coming up with themes.
I think these three
And
themes
I think these
are
three
great.
things are things that are multi-year,
Yeah.
multifaceted.
Yeah.
And things that, and how we approach each one will clearly be different.
Yeah.
But I think that when we're talking about themes for this year, these are three that are very, very basic to begin with.
so let me just throw out 3.5. And that is the Human Rights Commission and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And I think about the collaboration with Greenfield Community College and how they could tie in, because most people probably have never heard of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
I think
This is just,
alongside of all my hats, I'm also vice president of Student Senate at GCC. Go bees. And I can definitely bring it up at our Senate retreat on Friday and be like, hey, we're going to do meeting forum, all that stuff, but I can definitely bring up that we talked about that and see what their thoughts are on it. That could be a vote that Senate talks about.
and just in 3.1,
Yes.
we have Martin Luther King Day is next
Well,
week.
I wanted to talk about that. If you can,
Yeah,
I want to talk about that.
so I want us to be
Yes.
co-sponsors of that.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about
Go
that
ahead.
in just a
Hit
minute. So
Can I go back again? This is really quick. Suggestion, because I think it's useful, is to use the word initiative versus theme.
I think that's
Because it clarifies what you were talking about is an initiative, not the theme of universal health care. It's a particular initiative. You're talking about a particular initiative. You were talking about a particular initiative. I'm just saying, I
It's a
think
good
it
word.
helps.
It's
That's
a
all.
much better.
I'm
word.
done.
I do want to talk about that before we go into the next two things. Martin Luther King celebrations at GCC next Monday, 10 to 1. Dr. Campbell's the guest speaker. I will be there with my Students of Color Club. Something to think about for next year, something to think about for next year, and I've been
10 to 1?
10 to 1 at
Yes.
GCC. Something to think about for next year. I think that I've gone to 3 Kwanzaa events this past December, which all 3 were lovely. I did one in Greenfield, one in Springfield, and one in Holyoke. They were all lovely. I think that the ITRC maybe wants to talk about making a proclamation for that. There is no proclamation for Kwanzaa, and there should be a proclamation for Martin Luther King Day. And that's all I have to say about that. I think that's something that we, as a commission, need to think about and we need to step forward for that. Because I do agree that that should happen. But that's all I have to say. I hope to see some of you guys there on Monday. I'll be there Monday.
10 to 1.
10 to 1 with my crazy high schooler
It was-
club friends.
It was at the last one that Taki suggested I might be on the mood.
That's
Oh,
right.
Yes, that we were all
That's
there
right.
together. We
Yeah.
all had conversations.
Yeah.
That was really good. Yes, that was a good one. Yeah, we all met each other. So yeah, I'm super excited to be there. And yeah. All right. We're gonna talk about with almost 17 minutes left. We're gonna talk about the plaque. As we noticed that the plaque on there outside, we need to do 2. We need to do one for Wendy and one for Larry. But when we looked at it last meeting, we saw that the things come out to be engraved.
Right,
So we don't
right.
have to buy something for it. So
We just need an
I
engraver.
I haven't been able to find an engraver. I'm sure we can. So if one of you guys want to be on a task for finding an engraver, just put that in your radar.
Did we
and email
talk
us.
about, we talked about it and I feel like, did someone say the tech school did it?
Maybe, yes, I think somebody said the tech school, so maybe we can call the tech school.
Okay, I can call the tech
Okay.
school.
And
tomorrow.
just email us and let us know about all that stuff.
Yeah,
And so next, just to let the mayor know and also for Aaron, I just want a quick, seeing how much the HRC have in budget next meeting in February, because I know we spent a lot for the award ceremony.
We didn't spend as
We
much as
we
we
didn't
had
spend as
budgeted.
lot,
No,
but
we
I just want to
I
make
just
sure
have a quick
that we know how
question.
much we have left on it.
Do we know what's the material
I
that is? Like, is it brass? Is it, what is it?
mean,
Because they'll probably ask me that.
look after
It's
the
metal.
Metal.
Metal,
Yeah.
It's
okay.
probably
Don't
brass
tell me.
plated something.
Okay, but it's
Yeah.
not like anything
No.
special.
See it. Should be pretty.
No, I know, I've seen it. I know I just don't know what it is.
It's either
And we
brass or
spent
brass
less
plated.
on food and refreshments by probably $25-30. So I didn't get my check yet, but I want to say I spent like 135, right? And what did you spend? 80?
Well, it was a little less, it was 79.
So
and I
let's
did
just
get
say
reimbursed.
140. Oh, so okay, and 80 is 220. So if I had to
And we
take
got a really good deal. for
an
the
educated guess, the gift card we donated, so
Yeah.
we didn't pay for that. So 240. So if I had to say we have 250 plus left, but I don't know that.
I just wanted.
But
I
that
just
would
want
be
the
an
accurate-
educated guesstimate,
Right, which is great. I just want to know the accurate number, so.
my
we know.
goofy
So we can
brain.
do a,
Because we also have to figure out, because that 250 does not go into the next fiscal year, so if we
Right.
have
We don't.
money left over, we should be using. it.
We always
So I just want to make
right.
sure.
we want to
that-
make
Absolutely.
banners.
Right. we
And I
wanna do
just want to
things.
throw out an idea that Jonathan Weber gave to me when I talked about, because he wants to get the big old banner that's just kind of Greenfield out there that was yucky. He had last year out of the closet.
Oh, yeah.
Trash. When I suggested we might want a smaller one for tabling, he suggested, and I've looked online, to make a tablecloth
Oh,
with it on, that you don't have to attach it, you just put it over the table.
and it lies
And it
there.
has it right in the.
Yeah,
I'm done. I don't want to hold up
Oh,
more
that's,
time.
that's easy.
I
Little
But
like
it's a
that.
good
little
idea.
Velcro, whatever, boom.
Yeah, I like the
Right.
table.
And that's just a table, you just put it
And
on
it's
like a tablecloth and
Not
that's
like
it.
we're all, scavenging for tape or
Or
rope
anything,
or,
it's
you know,
just
All right,
crazy.
so,
We are
Paul,
always
you are
doing-
up next.
Yeah, this is very quick. At the September meeting, there was a verbal dispute whether the school committee had consulted their lawyer in creating a policy that might have some racist overtones. And so the lawyer was contacted and made it clear that he was consulted and gave the advice to use particular language on the policy, followed by a rationale. This is the policy that the whole school committee voted on. And for those who were listening during the September meeting, this is a clarification as we promised.
Do we have any discussion about the last 2 to 3 topics?
No, I think we're in good condition.
Going back to, because I'm using my time today. Going back to the proclamations. Juneteenth has a proclamation that will happen every year, which is exciting. I think, like I said, I think Martin Luther King should have a proclamation. I think Black History Month should have a proclamation. I think Kwanzaa should have a proclamation. I'm now celebrating Kwanzaa because I found out that it's part of my it's part of my African heritage, okay? And I would have not known that unless I was invited by Kim's event. And so, and I think that needs to be brought forward to this commission. And I want this commission to really focus on this. Not saying we should focus on it right now, but it's something that I do want for next year is to have a proclamation for Martin Luther King Day that we can bring to the celebration by the mayor to be like, yes, this is a official day in Greenfield history. Black history is an official day of a month of Black history, and Kwanzaa is an official 7-day event for all people. And I think that that's something to really think about. Yes.
This is just a point of clarification, and I'm really glad the mayor is here. Is this something that's universal, or is that a thing that the mayor does every year at the mayor's discretion?
Martin Luther King Day?
For anything, any of these? For, in other words, the Martin Luther King Day is a national holiday.
Yes.
But when last year, when you did Juneteenth,
That was on the town common.
is that permanent now as a proclamation, or was that just the mayor's choice that
For
year to
that,
do
for
that?
2025. Okay.
Yes.
So, so for certain things, it's an annual event that I know is coming, and that we put out a proclamation for. I can't think. There's 2 that I would say are annual. The flag raising for the Pride. There'd be a
Right.
proclamation for that.
But is that at your discretion? Yeah,
If I am asked to do something, I'm more than happy to do that. But yes, there is not an annual proclamation that I know of.
that's what I was asking. Yeah.
So, for example, if we ask you to do a proclamation for MLK Day in a week,
Mhm.
could you do that?
Is that enough time for you to do that? Or
I actually will not be here. In a week, I'm going to be at my daughter's. So generally speaking, if somebody's going to ask something of the mayor's office, generally there's a little lead time that
That's like
into
2
that.
months. That's like 2
Be-
months or something.
Because then if we're asked in particular to do something, because we try to say yes to everything.
Sure.
I don't say yes to everything. I've been asked to take, for a public proclamation on one thing or another, and I think I can see both sides of that, and both sides could be asking for a proclamation. So also, if it's on a holiday where our staff is normally off, then if I'm not here, that would mean putting someone in on their day off. So to answer the question, sometimes it is There are some regular ones, but not necessarily for every day that there is. We don't get up and say something for the 4th of July.
Right.
We don't get up and say something for many other holidays, but there are things like Memorial Day where that's an annual event with a parade with.
Right, we're all
Yes,
the same.
Which is true, but if we can raise a flag for Pride, then we can do a proclamation for Martin Luther King Day. That's my
Well, and
opinion.
can
And
a proclamation be published?
I mean,
As opposed, you know, if you weren't going, if you were not going to be here,
Right.
can something be published on the website or published in the paper as a,
right,
as a
but
proclamation with
right.
enough notice?
I feel like if it's a celebration where all community members are gonna be at an event,
Right.
it should be read at an event. It should not be posted publicly.
Right,
and
we
I
probably
think-
should have
and-
thought of it
and if-
earlier.
If this was something that we thought about in November or October, great, we
Right.
did it, right?
But we did.
But we didn't think about it. And that's why I'm putting it in the radar for next year to start talking about it. Because like I said, if we can raise flags for Pride Month, which I am not here to disgrace Pride Month, then we can raise something for Martin Luther King Day, Black History Month, and Kwanzaa.
Well, maybe what we should do is just send out an email early so we'll be ready. And put them all on a list.
So that's just something to think about. And
Well, it's to think about, but it's also to act on.
right.
Right, so we can come up
Yeah.
with this maybe at the next meeting.
We'll put it on the
And
agenda.
then put it on our calendar that says if we're going to do something for January, we need to do this in October.
Right.
The same way we've done,
The
some
same, like
other
this
things.
procedure like we did for the agent.
Exactly.
We have
Right.
a procedure.
And just nothing. Me personally, but we would then, I think, in fairness, really need to go out to the public and see as Hispanic Pride Month, something we were going to do, is Women's History Month, something we're going to do. And
Oh, the list.
I'm just saying,
No, I agree.
once you open the door,
No, I agree.
then and I'm not saying we shouldn't.
Yeah, and I think it's
I'm not
a
saying we shouldn't at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Yeah,
it, you know,
Need to look at the
no,
bigger picture.
probably nobody's had more discrimination than Black people in this country, but other people have too. And,
oh, yeah, yeah.
you know, and therefore we really need to represent.
As many as we can.
No, I think that,
I also was thinking last year how Isaac was kind enough to, invite us to the movie and not many people went. And I'd like to see us do that again. And as much as, I don't want to say I enjoyed the movie because I found it to be very,
horrific.
horrifying to me. I can't remember the name of it because it was horrifying to
So
me.
much violence and
It was just, I think we were all
It's a good
crying.
movie though.
But, right, but I was thinking that this year we could do a movie again, maybe get more press, and I have an idea for a movie that I really liked, and I thought it was great. And my son and his wife went on their anniversary, and he's white and she's biracial, and they saw Loving. Did anyone see the movie?
yeah, yeah.
It was a beautiful, beautiful movie about how this man and woman fell in love. I want to say it was the 50s in Washington, D.C. and Virginia. And they made Loving Day because it was against the law. He was a white man and she was a Black woman, and they had children and they kept getting arrested. But it was a beautiful movie. And I feel like it wasn't as horrifying. I mean, there were parts about it that were obviously very upsetting.
The other one,
But it wasn't, the other one had beatings and killings and it was just awful. Not to say that we shouldn't recognize that, I'm just saying. But I just really felt like the movie had a wonderful message.
Yeah.
And what do you think?
But that's something.
Do you want me to talk to Isaac?
Yes. Talk to
Okay.
Isaac and see what we can do.
I'm very busy.
Cool. What else I was gonna say?
yeah, I think this is unfortunately, we would have done well to discuss it today because next month we're already.
Right, is the Black, but maybe we could do it like behind the scene, and I'll see the end of February, he could do the movie.
Yeah, and
Heated seats now.
I heard heated seats in the
I just want to go there right
very
now.
exciting. Yeah.
What?
They put in new seats at the Garden Cinema and there's heated seats.
Certainly.
Well, that's where we want to have the movie.
So,
Don't miss Hamlet.
Yeah, I want to see that too.
it's true. Trying to figure out what else. So, yeah, stuff though. Events that everybody should go to is Martin Luther King celebration at GCC on Monday. Otherwise,
And the food is good too.
it is great.
Yeah, I'll see if I can
We had a
bring
great
Henry
meeting,
my
a
piece
great
tag.
first meeting of 2026.
Oh, I'll write that
Our
down.
next meeting will be February 9th, 2 days after my birthday.
Oh, are you gonna be 18 or
19?
19?
Yeah.
What day is your birthday? February 7th?
Yeah,
Wow, that's an exciting
it
day.
is.
And I will
Getting
be,
my first
I will
tattoo.
be attending remotely.
Okay,
I will do my best to attend remotely.
What kind of tattoo are you getting?
some family remembering.
Okay, you don't have to tell us where.
Well, I thought you were asking
So-
Linda what tattoos.
Oh.
She's going to be
Uh,
remote. I won't put that in the notes.
Okay, I just wrote it down for myself. So,
I meant
like I said,
tattoo.
next, don't write what Patty said earlier.
I didn't write that down either.
Next meeting is February 9th from 6 to 7:30 PM in person or via Zoom. Can I have a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
I motion to
Can I have
join.
a second?
Second.
Second by Linda, motion by Packy, all in favor?
I.
All right, we end at 7:26 PM. Thank you, everyone.